It's your daily dose of Donna. Happy Friday. We have made it. Shabbat Shalom. It's Friday, December 6th. How's everyone doing? I am so happy we've made it to Friday. I was running a little bit late because I had a school event. Yes, mothers are mothering hardcore in the December month. If you feel me, parents, you know how they do it in December. They really just they shove all those holiday events in. They're like, "Oh, Thanksgiving week, we've got every single Thanksgiving experience known to man. Come here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You got to come here for this fest and this performance and this dinner and this breakfast and this event and this thing and this and this and this and that." It is just one of those kinds of times. And I'm trying to really enjoy every moment of it, but I was just all over the place this morning. I really was just seeing LA. I was all over LA. However, it did allow me to sit in the car in LA traffic and enjoy some podcasts. I got to finally listen to Erica and Teddy's podcast, which I will be talking about today. And I sat through about maybe 6 minutes of Brittany Cartwright and Zach's podcast, their live podcast that we were talking about yesterday, fueled by 72 gallons of tequila. I couldn't get through 6 minutes. I'm not trying to be mean. It's a lot of laughter. If you like to hear people laughing at themselves after every word, then that's the podcast for you. But for me, I had to move on. I couldn't sit through it. I couldn't do it. Tried, really tried. But I moved on to bigger and better. You know what I mean? There's so much good content out there. So for that, I say thank you to all of my dosers who spend an hour with me every single day, Monday through Friday, here on Daily Dose of Donna. It doesn't go past me that thousands and thousands of you on a daily basis hang out with me, whether it's here on YouTube, watching me live or later all day, or listen to me on Spotify or on Apple. You are so appreciated. I couldn't do it without you. Todd and I thank you every single day. We sit, we talk, we laugh. Well, he doesn't, but I laugh. We think about you. We think about all your jokes. We think about all the friends that we've made here in this community. We have so much fun with you guys. So, we're going to get into the show because we have so many different stories to talk about. Well, actually, we don't. We have a few stories to talk about. It's going to be a light and tight day, but we always have fun. And we definitely have to talk about Craig and the size of his member. But I didn't bring it up. The lovely Andy Cohen did. Yes, Andy Cohen talked about Craig's penis. And it's just news. And if Craig's penis is brought up, I have to talk about it. Listen, I am just the messenger. It's your daily dose of Donna. In the comments, I'm seeing Craig was annoying me last night. Was Craig or was his penis? I want to say the word dick, but I just feel so Samantha, you know? Every time I say the word dick, I think of Samantha. Are we allowed to just say the word dick because that's just like on every single TV show that we're watching right now on Bravo? Like the other day on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Oh, you're saying dick jokes. You're saying dick, 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 dick. And then last night on Watch What Happens Live, is Craig's dick big? I mean, it's like, guys, can't we just go back to the good old days of PG? Just kidding. I love this kind of conversation. You know me, I'm the most inappropriate at all times. Bring it on. Life is too serious. We need to just have so much fun in life, right? Ooh, Asif was saying he was giving SDE. That means small dick energy. Interesting. I'm dying to know why. Was it about his conversations with Shep? We're going to get into all of that soon. Joe says Dick is technically also a nickname for Richard, so I guess you can say the word. I don't want to really dox my elementary school principal, but it has been about 30 years. His name was Dick Douglas. I'll never forget that. Dick Douglas. Sounds sexual. Now, I do want to tell you something about a sponsor that you probably have seen on various channels, and that's because we really, really do like it. And that is my friend. If you're wondering, damn, Donna, you look snatched on just one side of your face, that's because while I've been prepping for the show, I've been blue meaning it up. I have to share this. You guys remember my BLUMENE. I have a BLUMENE that looks similar, but it doesn't look as cool as this one because this is the upgraded BLUMENE. This is the BLUMENE Face Pro 2. You're going to hear a little beeps. I want to take it away from the microphone because it may make a little sound. Now, this is the green version. Then the blue, I'm going to go red. I always love a red light, okay? But the coolest thing about the BLUMENE Face Pro 2 is because this device naturally tightens and lifts my skin. And it is so much better than the first one that came out like a year or two ago that I was using up until I got this Face Pro 2. I was influenced to buy it when I was looking at all these other people that were using it. Honestly, these other people that were using it, I know some of them are not going to be your favorites, but like Teddi Mellencamp has the best skin. She was using it. I hope that doesn't bother your tell me if that bothers the sound, the vibration next to the mic. Kelly Dodd has the best skin and she uses it, I notice. It's called the BLUMENE Face Pro 2, and it's seriously become a game changer because for the past 5 minutes, I've been using it on just this one side of my face. And if you look closely, you'll notice that this side is definitely lifted, okay? I've been using it just on the cheek area. The puffiness looks better, okay? The jawline is more defined. I want to show you. To me, this side is slimmer than this side. Look at my jowls. Like, this has become such an issue for me. The jowls on this side, they're more droopy than on this side because I've been doing it. And the cool thing is, if you do it without putting your finger on this, look at without my finger, there's no vibration. But if you put your finger and you don't have to press a button, just put your finger on there, the vibration comes. It's so cool. Do you hear it? Anyway, the coolest thing about it is that a lot of you use the original BLUMENE, but the 2.0 is like hotter. Literally, it's hotter, it's stronger, there's tighter skin, and it's super, super warm. Like I said, it's warmer. The blood flow and collagen production is stronger. I love this device. I sit it here on my desk, and it comes with this cool little like seating pad. It's like a docket. Just sits there on my desk. Anyway, it's normally $300, but with the link that's below, it's blumene.com/daily dose of Donna. You're going to get $200 off for the first 100 people. So you guys have to immediately now buy it because it's only going to be $100. So this is a perfect Christmas gift, Hanukkah gift, stocking stuff or whatever for your moms, for your sisters, for your aunts, for your daughters. Okay. You'll get a free ebook, Face Tightening Secrets. You're going to find so many people that use this on YouTube or TikTok. So you can find a lot of other like cool little tricks. But anyway, they always sell out. So just make sure that you get on that because only 100 people are going to be able to get that $200 off. So treat yourself to the BLUMENE Face Pro 2, blumene.com/daily dose of Donna. And then later when I do this, I have to do the other side because I don't want to be lopsided. Legit question. Joe says, could men use BLUMENE to tighten a men's wrinkly balls? Interesting. Asking for my friend, Josh. You're throwing Josh under the bus? I don't even know if Josh is here in the live. Josh? Poor Josh. Yes, actually, Lance has used it. Just kidding. Aw, okay. Well, yes, you can use it anywhere. You can use it anywhere. Find out more at blumene.com/daily dose of Donna. Okay, we got to get into some stories. You guys, I saw a TikTok this morning and I'm going to shout out, Nat. She's a TikTok and Instagram creator and she posts a lot of deep dives and she's really, really smart. And she posted something that opened up a whole can of worms that I didn't even know about. And I think that this is going to actually blow your guys' mind because this is about Kristin Cavallari and Scott Disick. And we need to have some open dialogue here in the comments. Okay. I need to know from you guys if you saw this story about Kristin Cavallari and it was like clickbait story that Scott Disick was hitting on Kristin Cavallari. Did you guys see this story? There was a story that was like, I want to say it was like a page 6 story all over the place a couple weeks ago because Kristin Cavallari read on her podcast a DM that she got from Scott Disick. Let me see if I can actually find the story so we can show you. Yes, it was November 26, 2024. This was on this is an Us Weekly article, and the kind of clickbait headline that I saw and that a lot of you guys saw was that Kristin got this DM, and this was the article that we were all seeing. So if you never listened to the podcast, all we saw was this article saying Scott Disick was manipulatively sending Kristin Cavallari this DM when she became newly single and he's single, basically, essentially trying to hook up and get back in and try to date her, right? Didn't you guys all feel that way? So if you look at this one article, I'll just show you one of the articles that I just pulled up when I Googled Scott Disick, Kristin Cavallari. It says Kristin Cavallari reads manipulative DM from Scott Disick 17 years after hookup rumors. It says Kristin Cavallari is setting the record straight on past rumors regarding Scott Disick. It says Disick allegedly reached out to Cavallari via Instagram DMs for the first time in years. And this was on November 26th. So this is 2 weeks ago. She said, and she read this on the podcast, and this was the clip that they took. It's been such a long time. It's crazy, kind of crazy that our lives also ended up being kind of similar. I feel like it would be so good to see you and catch up and just talk about the stress and all the different things you got to go through with kids and changing your life around over and over. Really miss you though, and wish I would have reached out earlier. Disick wrote that he's been so busy trying to be the best dad I can be in his message and gave her his phone number as well. And Cavallari responded saying, Scott, you miss me after 17 years. So when I first read that article, the clickbait, and saw the clip and never actually watched that podcast or read that or actually watched the podcast, I thought also, oh, he's trying to get in her pants. So the world probably thought that as well. Now, and I thought that's kind of shitty, to be honest. Not that he sent the DM. I thought that was kind of shitty of her to blow his cover that way, because how many men or women would take an opportunity to know that someone's single? He didn't do anything wrong. She's single. He's single. He sent a very kind, easy, no big deal text, DM, friendly. It wasn't like, damn, you're hot, I want to F you. It was like, hey, let's connect. And for her to send that right or read that text out loud on a podcast is kind of embarrassing and really almost crazy. And I felt bad for him as well. Turns out, so did Aaron Leachy. And Aaron Leachy, Aaron Leachy, went on her stories the other day. And let me see if I can find a clip of it, and said, Team Scott, justice for Scott. Or I guess she posted it. She put it on her TikTok. So let's post. I'm going to read this for you. There's a roundabout story. Sarah called it here, and I'll explain it in just a second, that none of us knew, and it totally makes sense. And this is why Kristin read the DM. But just a moment, and I'll explain it. Here is Aaron's post in defense of Scott Disick for being called out for sending quite what seemed like a very innocent DM.
Okay, I've been seeing, I don't know if you guys have, but I've been seeing stuff online so much lately about this whole like Scott Disick, Kristin Cavallari situation. And I'm feeling like I need to weigh in on it. Like it's bothering me. I actually grew up pretty good friends with Scott. We were in the same group, especially in the Hamptons. We used to go out together all the time. We have a lot of mutual friends. I was with him a couple years back at a wedding. He was the best man. He's a great guy. Like he's not a bad person. And based on what she was reading, like I'm just so confused as to how that's manipulative. Like it sounds like a nice person reaching out and just being like, I've been through a lot. Like people forget that both his parents died. Like the guy went through a lot. He's not a bad person. And maybe he just like wanted to be friendly again. Like, why does that have to be manipulative? I'm actually confused. And I like Kristin. I don't know her, but like she seems fun and cool. Like we're the same age. I'm into her vibe. She's got kids. She had them young like me. So like anyway, it just felt kind of like, let's get in the media. And I'm not saying like she's a media whore or anything. I'm not like, I don't know her. Again, I want to say that she seems really nice and very cool. Again, I love her vibe, but I don't like, it doesn't seem like his character. Like, why is that like she thinks he's trying to like get with her, or like, I just don't, I'm like so confused. Like maybe he just wanted to actually talk. They're both, in the public eye, and they have kids, and they're not with their partners. Like it like rubbed me the wrong way.
Well, so when I saw that last night, I almost posted it to my stories because I was thinking the same thing as Aaron. I was like, see, I love Kristin Cavallari. And yes, I know she's a little wackadoo, and I know she's a conspiracy theorist just like I am. And I know she's been a little bit like off her rocker lately talking about clones and everything, but I actually appreciate someone like her that questions a lot of things and is not scared of like, the Hollywood, like have to do everything like everyone else. I appreciate that right now in this world. So I'm okay with it. But this one felt a little bit strange to me. I felt like she really called Scott out in a mean way. So it wasn't sitting well with me. And when Aaron posted this, I almost shared it last night to my stories, and I'm glad I didn't. Because actually what the real story is, and this is why we can't trust headlines and clickbait, is that allegedly, and I need to go back and actually find out what Kristin, because I don't listen to all of Kristin's podcasts. I listen to some of them. And I guess I need to go back and really listen. So Kristin has been talking about a lot of Hollywood stuff, and she's been going against the grain, which I like. You guys know me. I like going against the popular opinion. Kristin's been doing what a lot of Hollywood is scared to do, which is questioning Hollywood, right? Questioning Kanye, questioning, the norms. And she's been going against and talking against people like the Kardashians, which is, to me, very, very, very appealing as an onlooker. Like, I want someone out there who has a huge audience to not be scared to question the Kardashians. I think that's really, really interesting as a listener. Don't you guys? Like, I'm sick and tired of everyone being scared to question Hollywood elite. And so we should be in support of someone like Kristin. So what she is really saying is why Scott Disick's text is manipulative is that she believes the second she started to talk shit on the Kardashians, she feels that Scott sent her a text. The timing of it is very questionable because now all of a sudden the Kardashians are like, Scott, you have an in with Kristin. Shut her up. It's not about Scott wanting to hook up with her. It's about Scott getting in there to get her to shut up. And that's why she called Scott out. And that's literally what she said apparently on her podcast. It wasn't about hooking up. That's not why she was calling him out. She wasn't like, oh my God, Scott wants to hook up with me. It's so obvious. She never said that. But clickbait and articles and headlines made Aaron Leachy, myself, and probably the rest of the world that was reading these things think that she was calling Scott out for trying to get in her pants. I was so mad at myself for thinking that. Candace is saying, how would he shut her up though? Threats? I think it would be more like, hey, we're buddies. Like, listen, these are my kids' family. Like, they're not that bad. Like, just do me a favor. Or maybe say something like, hey, they're really dangerous. Like, you don't want to mess with them. Trust me on this. Like, I don't know. Just like basically get close to the enemy, essentially. I think it's a really, really interesting connection. So a lot of you that are listening to the podcast constantly, Melissa says, I listened to her podcast and I knew why. I know Sarah also listens to the podcast. A lot of my listeners also listen to her podcast. What kind of stuff has she said about the Kardashians? I know she's talked about Kanye before, but what has she said about the Kardashians recently? In what sense? I mean, I personally love Scott Disick so much, and I always felt like he was really put in a horrible situation on that show. I feel like he was treated really badly by them. I think, you know, not treated badly by them per se, because he was given a huge amount of success through the Kardashians. I mean, he gets paid still for doing the show, I imagine. I don't watch the show anymore. I don't even know if Scott Disick's still on the show, but I imagine he is because he probably gets a paycheck. But I don't know. Um, he seemed like a good guy that got like just basically ripped up, torn to shreds, and thrown away by Courtney and that whole situation. Yeah, he was he got heavily into addiction. He was he had a sad life. He had addiction. Both his parents died when he was very young. Um, he was like a very typical young, spoiled, rich kid that got famous, and all those things. I mean, really, really bad. Emily says, I cannot wait for the day the Kardashians get exposed. And I have to say, I don't want people's lives to get ruined. But if you are a bad person through and through, and if you are connected to only bad people, like now watching Girls Gone Wild documentary, so I'm through episode 2 and like vomit, I want to die. You guys, the stories are so bad. Joe Francis is disgusting. Disgusting. And you can't tell me that the Kardashians did not know all the shit that Joe Francis was part of. They may have not known all of the shit, but you have to have some idea of some of the shit because he had lawsuits against him, and they were hanging out with him as recently as 2021, 2022. Sorry, podcasters that were hanging out with him and having them on on their podcast recently. Bravo, that was having him on their shows recently. These are all people that are like, I'm going to sound so Cody Brown right now, but like culpable and like connected to him for what? For what? Just to like take advantage of his money and like his fame and like be like in his Mexico paradise. This is so P. Diddy coded. So, like, you're gonna just forego all of the crimes and all of the shit just to be encircled in like wealth and money and power and all of that. It's so bad, you guys. And Emily says again, she says there's proof Chris orchestrated Kim's sex tape with Ray J. That's probably just the tip of the iceberg. Don't get me started on Ray J, because one of my dosers, Crystal, who's been here since day one, she and I were in the DMs the other day going so deep on Ray J and Diddy and the crazy correlations between Ray J, Diddy, Wendy Williams, Whitney Houston. The list is long, my friends. It's really, 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 really sick. And if you start going down that hole, it's hard to see life the same afterwards, or any of these people the same. You know, it's like once you start to see people for who they really are, or just like even know that they were capable or involved with some of these disgusting, dirty things. The fact is, I used to be I used to look at some of these Hollywood people as this feels like a members only, honestly. Now I feel like I'm on Patreon or a members only. Okay, you guys are getting like a little bit of a hint of what it is like when you're on a members only or a Patreon. I used to look at Hollywood and celebrity as like royalty. Truthfully, I grew up here in Los Angeles. I came from, I went to Beverly Hills High School, but I came from like no money, right? I went to a very rich high school surrounded by celebrity. And my dad was surrounded by celebrity. He delivered all these celebrity children. But I grew up in a very, very low income neighborhood in like, I mean, now it's a very high income neighborhood because everything is in Los Angeles, but it was in West Hollywood at the time. It was like a falling apart little house, rental. We got no money from my dad, and I had no money. And I was just so enthralled by wealth. Like I was obsessed with wealth and fame. And I would like drool over celebrity. And I thought they were just the coolest, most insanely. I would just watch the Oscars just like drooling over it, right? All I wanted in my life was to be famous, or not even famous, wealthy. Like I just thought that was the coolest thing, just to be just like Hollywood, right? And I would go to the Universal Studios backlot tour and like see it and see how it was done. And I would just look up to celebrity. And I remember my mom would always used to tell me, um, because my mom was never that way, like at all. And I don't know if it's just because she's not from America or something. She was always just like, who cares about celebrity? Like that doesn't matter. They're just celebrities. Like they're just like us. Like they don't mean more than us because they have fame and wealth. Like they're just like us. And I was like, you don't even know. Like I thought she was so stupid that she didn't think that they were more special than us. But the more that you realize that people like Brad Pitt are allegedly abusing their children, and people like Leonardo DiCaprio are allegedly like dating underage kids, and or like like these young women, and like there's allegedly stories I just heard about like these rock star musicians dating, God forbid dating, but like, doing God knows what with underage kids. And these horrible stories of like drugs. And I mean, I was just getting my hair done, who my hairstylist works very, very closely with all these really, really like rock stars. And the stories that she has told me will keep you up at night. Like it's sick to your stomach shit. And the Girls Gone Wild stories, and then the Kardashian stories, and the Diddy stories. And like we just know like a pin. We just know like a little bit of the world of it, because the more power you have and the more celebrity you have, it's like they're all, and I don't want to say they are all, because I imagine there's good people out there, but I just think that there's so much corruption and disgusting in all that celebrity that it's really hard for me to idolize celebrity anymore in any way. You know what I mean? Like, it's bad. It's bad. It's hard to look at these people as like, oh my God, like I can't. It's so, yeah, I guess in a roundabout way, I look back at these like Kardashians and I'm like, if they were involved in horrible, disgusting shit, I feel bad because there's kids involved, and they're all parents. But yeah, if they're involved with like knowing some really, really bad stuff and being involved in some bad stuff, take them down. Take every single last one of them down. Susan says us hairdressers know all the dirt. They know it all. Hairdressers know everything. What is it about women sitting down in that hairdresser seat that we tell them all? They probably know all about every single affair, every single STD, every single person's like inner deep dark secrets. It's crazy. Okay, back to the show. You guys got like a little inner moment of Donna's Patreon content. Okay. So I thought that was interesting about the Taylor, I'm sorry, about the Kristin Cavallari. Now we have to go back and listen to Kristin talking shit about Kim Kardashian. Okay, let's move on to another little story, a little microdose. Let's talk about Teddi Mellencamp and Kyle Richards. Well, so I listened to Teddi Mellencamp's story. I mean, Teddi Mellencamp and Erica Jane's new podcast called Diamonds in the Rough. Okay, here's what I'm going to say. And thank you. Someone said, I like your sweater. It's so cute. It's actually Vici, VICA. I bought my new jeans too. The whole outfit is Vici, but it's so hot. So I'm taking it off. I'm really sorry. It's very warm in here. Okay. I listened to the podcast. I will say this one thing really fast. Teddi could not have made a better move for her career. Could not have made a better move for her career. Erica Jane, at least this season, is so well liked. She did so well for Two Teas in a Pod when they were doing OC recaps. Like on every single post that they would release social media content, every comment was like, I love Erica. Please have Erica on more. Erica's so good on this podcast. And she did. She had such great takes. She wasn't scared of hurting anyone's feelings. She would say exactly what she liked. She was so wonderful. So this is a great move for Teddi to have more of like a personal podcast where she opens up a little bit more, and it's separated from like a recap show. And essentially what this podcast I think will be, it will be a little bit more personal. I think they'll probably interview other housewives about more personal stuff. I don't know. I mean, we'll see where it goes. Um, I think that uh we got a little bit more. We didn't get details about the separation. I mean, about like what happened to cause the separation. We didn't hear a thing about the horse trainer. We didn't hear a thing about Teddy's, like what caused the affair, what caused the separation, what caused like what got to where it got. But we did hear where they stand now. We heard that Teddy and Edwin have a very, friendly relationship. They get along really well. I also heard that directly from her. They get along, they're friendly. She said that it was the first Thanksgiving she spent away from him for 15 years, and it was hard for her, it was hard for him, it was hard for the kids. She said that it was really nice for her to be with her family, and she was very clear with them that she just needed to not, like, be interrogated the whole time, she just wanted to be there with them. And she said that, Erica or she said that her dad is as good at giving hugs as she is, so they were laughing about that because Teddy's just not a very, like, nurturing type of human being, I think. Um, she said that they're doing something called nesting. So of course, the headline that everyone took is Teddy moved in with Kyle. Well, that's not exactly what it is. So nesting, allegedly, this is used in, newly separated families where you're not allowed to file for divorce right off the bat. There's a cooling off period. And so what happens is if you have young kids, you can make the decision where the kids stay in the same place. Kids' lives don't change at all. Parents go back and forth into the house. Now, they have a huge house. We've all seen this on social media. They have one of those huge new construction houses, but maybe they just found it smarter and better that instead of one of them staying in the guest house or in the guest room or whatever, that they completely sleep in separate houses when one of them is there. So Edwin is sleeping, according to social media, in their old house that they lived in when they were on Housewives, that modern house. And Teddy opened up that she's sleeping at Kyle Richards' house when Edwin is home. So it's probably 2 nights a week, 3 nights a week. And Teddy and Kyle live blocks away from each other. So it actually really makes sense. Kyle lives in that huge house with just one kid, and dogs. I'm sure it's a win-win for both of them. Kyle feels like she's probably a little lonely. It actually makes a lot of sense. I don't see this as anything. It actually feels like probably a really nice solution for both of them. That way, Kyle's not so lonely, and Teddy doesn't have to, like, rent an apartment or live alone somewhere or be lonely or have to spend more money. It makes sense. To me, I feel like it would be the best solution ever if I was going through a separation, that I would just be able to move in with my newly single friend who had the space, who had a huge space. And so I think it's actually a really nice thing. Everyone is, of course, Teddy haters are like, oh my God, this is her way, trying to push her way back onto Housewives. This is horrible. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, get a life. Like, this is seriously just real life. Number one, they're not filming Housewives, so this is not happening anytime soon. Number two, even if she was living in Kyle's bed, if she's not going to be on Housewives, she's not going to be on Housewives. This is not a relationship. I don't believe for 1 second the rumors are true about Teddy and Kyle being in love or being together. I really don't believe any of that. I don't even know if Kyle's a lesbian. I just think that maybe Kyle fell in love with Morgan. I don't know if Kyle's fluid. I don't know. I just think Kyle had a thing with Morgan personally. But I don't think Kyle and Teddy have a relationship or feelings for each other. My gut feeling is that they're personally just friends. But also, I was watching Zach's show right before mine. He had Carlos King on, and Carlos, you guys know Carlos obviously from his podcast, and then he's a producer, also a reality TV producer, and he had a really interesting, good take on Teddy. So he comes from the producer side, and every single reality TV producer that I've spoken to, and I'm friends with a few, and they all have such a different take than the audience and social media take. And it's so interesting this way. So the audience take, meaning the social media and the commenters here and on Instagram and on Reddit or on Facebook groups, Twitter, is usually so opposite than the producer's take. Because what we're seeing on social media, and this is also what Carlos said, what you see on social media is not actually, it's not necessarily aligned or connected with what the rest of the world actually, or what the real world actually feels. And the best example, and I was talking to my friend Kaden last night, shout out Kaden, who works with iHeart and all those people. And the best example are Teddi and Tamara's numbers on their podcast. So I'm not saying anything that's out of school or different than what you guys would assume. But if you take two housewives, former or current, who are like universally currently disliked right now, I don't know if you could go lower than Teddi and Tamara in the likability factor in Housewives universe. Can you? We got Teddi and we got Tamara. We had Tamara having one of like her toughest seasons on the Housewives ever, and then of course her comments on her show after that, which like really made everyone in the world want to take her down. And then of course we have Teddi, who already people didn't like, and then she had the affair. And meanwhile, their podcast cannot do better. Their podcast is killing it. Now, I don't know about Spotify, but I'm just going to show you right now on any average day when I go to top charts on TV and film, top 2, Watch What Crappens, always in the top, and Two T's in the Pod, always in the top. If they're not the top 2, they're the top 3, top 4. That it means something. Watch What Crappens is so insanely successful, and Two T's in the Pod, Two T's in a Pod is always at the top. These two are so incredibly successful. So this means more than social media saying we don't like you. This means relevancy. This means numbers. And at the end of the day, what's more important for a network or for a TV show? Numbers. Because Roni, you may be obsessed with someone that's on a show, but if they're not getting the numbers, they don't have a show. They're not going to redo a show. I'm not saying they're bringing Teddi back, and we're not even talking about Teddi necessarily. It's just an interesting take on all of these things. So I asked Carlos during that live. I said, you guys are so mean. Distinguished guest said, if I have to stop listening so Teddi won't be back, I will. I don't think she'll be back. I really don't think she'll be back. I can't imagine. I don't think they'll do that, but I'm just saying. So I asked Carlos on that live with Zach, I said, well, what about Roni? Do you think the new Roni is a social media driven hate, or is it like a real life hate? And he's like, girl, that's real life. Because no one likes Roni. Like on social media, I mean, 7 out of 100 people like Roni. Maybe 3 out of 100 people like Roni. And we've come to a conclusion of why. Well, I've come to a conclusion of why. Because in my mind, and I talked about this the other day, there's a bingo card of cultural issues, of like victimhood issues, of, 2024 issues. And we're checking them off one by one. And all of them have been checked off. I mean, I'm sure they'll come up with another issue. Oh my God, Jeff Lewis and Andy Cohen are 2 of the 100 people that like Roni. And Brynn is the 3rd. Should we talk about that Brynn comment towards Jeff Lewis? Brynn calling Jeff Lewis a pig? What is she doing? She's just trying to stay in the news, maybe. Why are you going up against Jeff Lewis? Now, I understand that Brynn is mad at Jeff Lewis because she thinks that Jeff made a insinuation that she's like a call girl, but he never said it. He never said anything about her. If you go back and listen to the tape, it doesn't actually occur. He just asked how she's making her money because Brynn is the only one that we've never seen her actually work. Do you guys notice that? We've never seen her work. I believe we've seen everyone else, right? So Carlos, I still don't know if it's a producer issue on Roni or if it's a cast issue. Carlos said they're not a good cast. So Jeff didn't actually say anything about her, but then when Andy Cohen asked about it, she said, "I've been quiet on Watch What Happens Live the other night." She goes, "I've been quiet intentionally, but I think he's a pig, and I think he wants to be on Roni." And Kathy Hilton goes, "Who?" "Jeff Lewis." And Kathy's like, "Really? I like him." And she goes, "Oh, well, he talks badly about your sister." And Kathy's like, "He does?" "Yes, I heard he gives her a lot of orchids." And I'm like, please, Jeff Lewis and Kyle Richards are fine now. Like, don't start shit. So then Jeff Lewis, of course, clapped back yesterday. Did you guys see this clip? Let me see if I can quickly find it. Jeff Lewis had Kelly Ben-Simone. Oh, Kelly Ben-Simone. He had Kelly Ben-Simone and Crystal Minkoff on his show yesterday, and he talked about the pig comment. Let's watch it together.
I'm not that affected by her calling me a pig. I just find it interesting because I feel like if I were to call someone a pig, there would be major backlash and consequences.
Right.
I also didn't feel like it was a very intelligent response. I mean, I'm an avid, housewife watcher, and I comment, and I've never really called her names. She'll say I called her names, but prove it.
It's
show me the
receipts.
Yes,
that's just irrelevant. Sorry, but like,
so
no shame.
Sure, I don't think it really
got headlines like this.
Like, I'm sorry. I mean, Real Housewives of New York was such a fun time in my life, and like, I think my scenes are like 2 and 3 of all time, next to Chicken of the Sea. So these girls, they're so cute and fun, but they're awful at housewiving.
I don't think that. Yeah, it didn't
Awful.
land. And
It
Kathy
didn't
was
land.
defending you. I saw it.
Yes, and I watched that because, Kathy and I, we know each other. We hung out one night at the Beverly Hills Hotel.
Kathy Hilton was there.
Kathy Hilton. And we had a great time together. And I appreciate her saying, look, I like him.
Mhm.
And then I found it very interesting, which is what I have said watching her on the show, is that she immediately tries to manipulate and cause discord between me and Kathy, and saying, well, he talks badly about your sister. And Kathy was like, which one? And she said, Kyle, he sends her a lot of orchids. Well, that doesn't sound like a bad thing.
That's a nice thing.
Yeah, and
I'll
look,
take orchids.
Kyle and I have been friends for a long time. I've made jokes at her expense on this radio show, and I've apologized, and I've sent her orchids, and we're good.
Right.
So I think for her to do that, and I also think I found it interesting that when she said a lady doesn't wrestle with pigs, I don't find her to be a lady. I don't even find her to be an adult. I think she acts like an oversexed teenager, and on that show, and that's what I have said. And I think, she's desperate for attention. She flirts with other people's spouses and partners and parents. And this is all I have said. Like, this is what I have noticed. I don't like the shtick. I feel like it seems to me like she's very desperate for attention. And by the way, the audience is turning on her. And the things that I said are really indefensible. You can't say that that's not the truth. This is what we have witnessed. And so her response is, I'm a pig. And I just feel like, again, if I were to say that, and, I think Andy was even uncomfortable when she
I
said
watched
that.
the clip. I don't watch the show, so, but yeah, it was just based on the clip. It felt like it didn't land. Like, I don't think Andy was supporting that either. But I was like, by the way, that's why I love Kathy. Kathy, I've known, friends for 18 years. She's not gonna like jump in just to make you feel good. She's not like a yes person. She'll defend you if she likes you. And I like that. I like that she had her own opinion about you.
Yeah, I appreciated that.
Yeah. So listen, obviously everyone has their opinions of Jeff, and he triggers a lot of people, but what he said about Brynn is true. Like, Brynn is so frustrating to me as a viewer because she can't play both sides. She can't play this like perfect, classy, wonderful woman who is literally trying to like be cute by trying to screw everyone's husband, girlfriend, and wife and dad. It's so true. It's actually like not okay. You can't do that. You can't like, and what Zach also was saying to Carlos earlier, and Zach and I talk on the phone weekly, multiple times a week about this, is you can't play the game of like, oh my God, I've been, sexually assaulted and I am so devastated over it and it ruined my life and this and this and that. And also say about like, I'm so horny, I can't stop. Like, give me your, penis popsicle and like come over and screw me. And can we go F in the corner and da 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 constantly every 3 seconds? I'm so horny. I'm so wet. I need to have sex 2 seconds every second. Like, it's over the top. It's so performative. If that's your personality, then that's your personality. Then you can't cry about sexual assault in the same episode. And I don't know where to look. I don't know who you are. It's too much for me. And I understand that hypersexualization can be a response to sexual assault, and that's fine. But like for an audience member who doesn't go to school for therapy and like psychology, and we're like, you have to talk down to us as audience, right? We are not. I'm being 100% honest, right? We're Housewives fans, okay? We are not watching this like with doctorate degrees. We're watching this as a fun show. And this show is like, it's going over our heads. It's uncomfortable. It's making us feel like we're watching the real victims of New York. It's too much. Like, boom, the abortion story. Boom, the sexual assault story. Boom, like it's too much for a fun show about New York housewives during a time where life is just so damn heavy. Does anyone else feel that? Okay. I don't know. Okay. So that's just my opinion. I wasn't even going to talk about Jeff Lewis. Now, let's move on to our Bapadoo. It was so lovely to go back to the South, to go back to Charleston, to see my friends in the South, in Charleston. Southern Charm is back, my friends. I can't tell you how welcoming it was to see beautiful Madison. Was anyone else so excited to be back in our, like, in just like, I don't know, but like, I was just so happy. Like, I just wanted a mint julep. I wanted a glass of champagne. I mean, I just wanted to drink, to be honest, watching Southern Charm. Something about when Southern Charm starts, I just feel like I need to just drink all the drinks. But no, Shep is on his like kind of sober journey, but not really. Was Shep not drinking or drinking? And I think that Craig is actually sober. I was a little confused by that too. We'll get into it. So the episode starts. We see a little bit of everyone, right? We see Madison and her hot husband doing a little making out in the kitchen. Such a hot couple. Then we see Shep getting ready because the guys are picking him up. They're going on, or the guys are all meeting up and going and hanging out together. And then we see Craig picking up Austin. Now, Craig, I mean, when Craig showed up on screen, I feel like it's been 6 years since Southern Charm has been on. But when Craig showed up on screen, I felt like, I mean, I did it during our members only. We watched the first few minutes together last night. But like when he showed up on screen, I almost like, I was like, do I look okay? And then I realized I was in bed in pajamas with glasses on with like pimple cream on. And then I realized he's not watching you, Donna. He's laying in bed with his large penis and Paige. And then I realized he doesn't even know who I am. Oh, he's so hot. Although a lot of people did not like him last night. They didn't think he was cute and they thought he was like a little bit rude last night. So I'm curious if you guys felt that way too. Now the episode, Craig picks up Austin. They start basically getting on this road trip to go meet up with Shep because they need to kind of talk to Shep. Since last episode or last season, Shep and they had some drama because Shep had a really bad BravoCon last season. Did we talk about this live last year? How every single person that I spoke to that saw Shep last year was like, it wasn't good. People saw him falling down. People saw him yelling at people. He was awful at BravoCon. Then we see the biggest creep in the history of America, and his name is JT. Now, the last time I called him weird, I got a comment on YouTube saying, "How dare you? He has diabetes." And to that I say, even those with diabetes can be creeps. And I stand by it. JT creeped me out in a way that no one else has on a show in a long time. And that includes John Jansen. JT is not okay. Don't understand the cane. I mean, I understand he got in an injury. He fell off some sort of ATV, which reminds me, didn't Cody Brown and Robin Brown have some ATV incident coming up in an episode of Sister Wives soon? I can't wait. Can't wait to recreate that. We have a cane. Now, I was told in the Facebook group that I have to get a cane for a prop today. And to that I say no. I will not be trying to be JT. No thanks. Not happening. I'll find a prop at some point this season, but that ain't it. So JT and Vanita are shopping. I can't tell if they like each other or don't. I think Vanita has a crush on JT. I do. But he's caning his way because he has an injury. He's really struggling to walk. There's something about his face that's really creeping me out, though. I don't know what it is. It's not the same as it was last season. Something's different. Austin's on the phone to Pookie Bear. Now, if you were part of my members only yesterday here on YouTube, which you can still join and watch the episode, we went deep. We talked about Jay Leno and the mob. It was an interesting one. Austin calls his new girlfriend Audrey. And then he calls her Pookie. Now, I would like a show of hands. By show of hands, I mean in the comments. Do you think it's a reason to break up with someone if they call you Pookie? I say yes. I called Lance during my live yesterday on members only, and I said, "Hi, Pookie." And he goes, "No." He just knew. He said, "No. I have a reaction to that. I don't like it." Pookie is it's a deal breaker. Do not pook me ever. Pookie is what my kid and his friends call each other. Like, "Hey, Pookie." What the hell? It's giving immature. Pookie Bear, Pookapotamus, Pookie Meister, Pookie Poo 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 Poo. They go to Shep's family farm. Shep has money. Shep has Sutton money. Shep has Jennifer Tilly money. Okay? If Shep had to date any of the housewives, who should he date? Shep and Sutton should end up together. So he goes and to the family farm, and he's trying to show that he's like a changed man. He's running on the fields with little Craig. He's kind of not drinking as much. He's not doing ayahuasca. He's living his life. Joe says maybe some people who are into scat would not mind and maybe even love having Pookie as their term of endearment. What do you mean? What's scat? Scoop-a-doo-doo, scat, scat, scat. Is that what scat is? So basically Shep is like, I need to have Craig and Austin here because they have not been there for me this entire journey. And I think this is tough because it made me feel bad for Shep. And I'm curious from you guys what you think. It made me feel bad for Shep because Shep has really tried his best. And I've been following him on social media and I've been seeing that he's been doing the journey. And I don't think recovery or a healing journey, as Whitney would know, is a straight line. A healing journey is like this, right? You go up, down, you have great days, and then you fall a little bit, and then you go up, and and in my opinion, Craig and Austin have been really tough on him about it. It's like they didn't really give him a chance to be there for him while he was really deciding to change his life, because Craig said, "I feel like I've been there for you so long and you really just disappointed me so much in the past that I didn't even want to be there for you." And that really hurt my feelings for Shep because Shep was finally really ready to change his life, it feels like. And Craig didn't even want to be there for him. And how rich of Austin, of all people, to say "No, man, I didn't want to be there for you." Austin is not a changed man. Austin just has a Pookie in his life. Austin's kind of a dick. Did anyone else feel like that was kind of shitty? And when they were sitting there, the three guys talking, Craig is like, yeah, man, sorry. Like, I've been there. I've heard it before. And part of me does wonder, is that a Paige thing or is that a Craig thing? Does anyone feel like, and I like Paige. Don't get me wrong. I really like Paige. But does anyone feel that Paige is that Paige has sat down with Craig and said something along the lines of, Shep is a loser. You know Paige, right? Paige doesn't hold back. Do you think Paige has sat down with Craig and she said, Shep is bringing you down. Shep is bad for your brand. Shep is making you look like an idiot. Shep is a loser. He's not good for like us and our brand. And he's like, he lowers your credibility. He lowers your like social vibe. We need only to hang out with people at our level and up. You don't need to like be with him. Yeah, you guys agree. A lot of you guys agree. Because I don't think Craig is in his heart that cold towards Shep. I think Craig would have been there for him. And I think, because I think we all know wives and girlfriends like that who would tell their husbands, like, don't do it. Don't be a good friend to him. He's an ass. He's an idiot. He's a loser. I think that's the case. Because what someone said this a little bit earlier. This is really interesting. Someone said this a little earlier. Yeah, Craig is getting kicked. Craig was just getting kicked out of a wedding a few years ago. Craig just got kicked out of Kyle and Amanda's wedding a few years ago. That was like, what, 3 years ago? It's not like Craig has lived this like really incredible life forever. He should have. I understand he changed his lifestyle just before Shep did. But that should not abstain him from having any empathy, sympathy, sensitivity, compassion for what Shep is going through. Like, Shep doesn't have a Paige in his life. Craig changed his life, in my opinion, because of Paige. And I feel bad. I feel like he was really, really tough on Shep in that moment. And Austin had a little bit more heart around it. And I feel like Paige probably, oh, this is going to be really, really mean, but I feel like Paige probably had like a sit down with Craig in that scene that they flash back to where they were sitting together and Craig was basically telling Paige, like, I've changed my entire life. And Paige said, yeah, because of me. Do you remember that little flashback that they had? And Paige was probably like, listen, you're going to see Shep next week. And I don't want you to fall back into old patterns and like stay strong. Okay. You and Shep cannot be close. I kind of feel like that. I feel like Paige may be like holding Craig back from being friends with Shep. Like she's like, he's a bad influence on you. Now, meanwhile, we got to meet this new girl, Molly. Now, I am very torn on her. It's only been one episode. We got to see her in 2 scenes. I can't decide if I like her or not. Usually, I can like tell right off the bat if I like someone when I first meet them on a show. My first moments with her in this like dress shop were not good. Did anyone else have a negative reaction to her when first meeting her? My first feelings were negative. Yes, I think she used to be on Top Model. She was a very, very famous or like very successful model. She walked in all these huge fashion shows. She's very beautiful. She clearly has some issues with her thyroid. She was talking about how she gains and loses weight. And maybe that is what I'm feeling, a sense of insecurity, a sense of self-deprecation, a sense of like nervous energy. She's not really confident in her skin. And I think that's what I'm feeling. But hopefully she gains more confidence because the insecurity, self-deprecation was reading off as unlikable. And I worried about that because I want her to be likable and like more friendly. And when she came in the dress shop, I felt like all she wanted to do was just like dog on herself. And that bothered me. Billy just said, remember you liked Bronwyn, Donna. And look how that turned out. Look how that turned out. I know, for real. Let's see. I mean, if she's a little quirky and a little bit odd, I think that's actually kind of fun for this show. I wasn't sure about her yet. I guess the biggest red flag is that she likes Whitney. That is a really, really strange person to have a crush on. Now, she says that she used to sext with Craig. Thank God she's not trying to hook up with Craig, because that's kind of what I was feeling from a trailer. And I thought to myself, please, no. Like, you can't try to get in between Paige and Craig, like America's favorite couple. Sorry. My dog is barking like a crazy person as if someone's in my home. Sorry. Or an earthquake's coming, so I guess we'll know in the next minute. Yeah, no one says I can't change my mind. I mean, maybe tomorrow I don't know. Maybe tomorrow this will be called daily. I don't know. Maybe this will be a weekly show tomorrow. Who knows? Vicente already came and went, so it's not the gardener. Okay, so there's definitely no Craig trying to hook up. Thank God. I was like, that if you want to be the most disliked reality star ever, you're going to try to hook up with Craig right now on Summer House. Like, I mean, Southern Charm, that would have been the worst move. But no, she wants to hook up with Whitney. Meanwhile, Craig goes in to cook dinner, which is like shocking. And Austin and Shep have a nice little conversation by the fire. Shep talks about ayahuasca and how he ended up seeing Austin and his sister. Now, I've never done ayahuasca. However, I've watched enough documentaries, and I did watch that one episode of Chelsea Does Drugs. Did you ever see that one episode of that Chelsea documentary? There was a Chelsea Handler HBO 4-part documentary. Highly recommend. Could not tell you what it's called. It's a Chelsea Handler 4-part documentary all about when she goes, like, one of them is where it's like about sex, and one of them is about maybe religion, and one of them is about drugs, and it's about ayahuasca. And she goes and does ayahuasca, and like there's a ton of like vomiting, and it's like really intense. All I know is that when I see people vomit, I'm like, that's not something I would ever bring on into my life. Who wants to do this by choice? But Shep basically said that he did ayahuasca. And while he was doing ayahuasca, he ended up seeing Austin and his sister. I believe her name is was Kyle. Kyle? Passed away when she was, I think, 10 and Austin was 7. Now, that story will always, always break my heart. I mean, it's the most tragic story a person can hear, right? 2 kids and their parents going hiking, just like a fun family hike, and one falls to their death. I mean, what? The most tragic story. This is truly the most nightmarish scenario for a family. And the fact that Shep saw that, felt it, and then actually turned it around to feel sympathy and to feel compassion for Austin and what he was going through and why he experienced that kiss with Taylor and how he was going through that. Like, Shep, bless him, that he was able to feel forgiveness for Austin for kissing Taylor and probably stubbing her, let's be real, and feel forgiveness because he went through an experience of such loss earlier on in his life. That's special. Like, Shep is a good man deep down, deep down. Did anyone else feel that as well? Then he said that he also had a vision of Taylor, his ex, who in this moment, I think Shep is still in love with her, as a bird flying into walls. That made me laugh. they end up, of course, going to, for the rest of the night. I guess they ate. I don't even know. And then the next scene is them all getting ready for the Carolina Cup. A bunch of them, including JT and his 15 canes. What an idiot. Sorry. I know he has diabetes. I still think he's an idiot. So anyway, they get into the Sprinter van, a bunch of them, and like Leva's there, Molly's there, Taylor, JT, Vanita, Rodrigo, and Rodrigo's is it boyfriend or husband? I don't remember. And they all go, and then meanwhile, pretty woman herself, Madison, can do no wrong in her polka dot dress, is going. They're at the Carolina Cup. Now, there's a couple thoughts I have about Carolina Cup. Nothing about this is very pretty. Everyone's like, it's so pretty. I'm like, is it? You're in the middle of Charleston, which is the most beautiful area. You're on a grass patch in the middle of cars. Did anyone else find this like not to be that pretty of a scenario? I thought to myself, this is pretty. You literally just like shoved a couple tents. You're in between 7 cars. You don't even see the horses from where you are. So pretty. Okay, fine. Well, I guess we'll call it pretty. You can't bet on any of these horses. What's the point? I guess it's a place you can drink. For these people, that's all that matters. Now they all show up. Everyone's got, their hats on, their cute dresses. Everyone looks good. Madison's got a strawberry trees. I don't understand it. I thought it was ugly. Oh, Jamie lives there. It's the biggest event our town has. Wow. I don't get it. Charleston should be better than this. It doesn't make any sense. And they should have picked a better location where you actually could like see the horses from where they were sitting. All you see are cars where they were sitting. It really was, and the grass wasn't even that green. This threw me off. I felt like we were just like at a local park here in Burbank. Very much threw me off. Everyone's like, it's so pretty. Is it? Okay. The strawberry trees were also, is there something symbolic? Is there something symbolic about the trees? Now, so everyone's kind of snacking, everyone's eating. Madison is killing the game. At one point she goes, big mistake, huge. And I said, oh my God, Madison. So Austin and Madison are chatting about Shep and the ayahuasca. Obviously, Madison and Shep have a little bit of a weird situation from last year. Now, the big kind of note moment is Taylor comes. Shep, who looks like Indiana Jones, don't understand it, comes over to talk to Taylor. These are exes. Shep was in love with Taylor. Taylor broke Shep's heart. Shep broke Taylor's heart, to be fair. She was so mean to him. I wanted to cry for Shep. Like, Shep had a really sad episode to my heart. Like, it didn't work for my heart. Because I'm too sensitive for these things. Shep goes, hi, Taylor. Now, Taylor is dating a new man named Gaston, but he's not from Beauty and the Beast. I checked. And there was a picture of them licking each other's tongues. So I officially hate them. Okay. And Shep goes, hi, Taylor. I sent you a text, a really nice text. And she goes, did you? And he goes, yeah, I think I'm blocked. And she goes, are you? And then in the confessional, she goes, yeah, I blocked him. I don't need text messages from him about we're hanging out with these friends and we're hanging out with this. I don't need him in my life. I have a new man. And meanwhile, don't forget that she was sending him texts all the time, booty call texts left and right last season. Remember that? Sorry, what the fuck? Kid show, family show. So mean. And she was like, yeah, okay, bye. Like, no moment of, sorry, I'll unblock you. Things were a little weird then. Now, remember, he said, I haven't seen you since December. They shot the reunion in December because it was after BravoCon, which was November. I don't know when this is, but it feels like it's summerish, at least springish. It's nice. It's sunny. It's been 4 or 5 months. Taylor can't get over it and just like be friendly. You're on the same cast. Unblock him. Mean. I also don't think he's like a perfect guy. Joe says, I don't watch Southern Charm, but based on some of the clips I've seen of Shep, he gives an entitled douchebag energy. He's not a perfect man. Trust me. I'm not saying he's like a good guy. I just felt bad. Because like he's obviously a hurt bird. Even though he imagined that she was the hurt bird. He's the hurt bird. Yeah, they have a lot of issues clearly, but I don't like the non-communication. Like he's I don't know. I just felt for him in the moment. And then JT comes with the canes and it doesn't fly and he like tries to connect with Austin and he's creepy. And then Patricia comes and sits there with Whitney and his 20-year-old girlfriend. It's giving Joe Francis energy, just saying. And JT tries to give Patricia a cane. And everyone thinks it's the weirdest thing. I don't see it that weird. He was giving everyone a cane, but everyone finds it to be so offensive. I just find him weird. Diabetes and all. And that was kind of where the episode ended. Nothing huge happened, but I know it's going to be an incredible episode. Let's see. Michael's telling me to stop complaining? That's what I do best. Okay, so let's Watch What Happens Live. So on Watch What Happens Live, Madison looks chef's kiss gorgeous. She's got Fortune Feemster also next to her. So fun, so adorable. I love Fortune. There's something about Fortune that just makes me happy. Like I just want to smile when Fortune's on my screen or in my ear. Like she just like brings light. Don't you guys feel that way? They played games about who's the best guy, who's this, who's the nicest guy, who's the sweetest guy, who's this, who's that. The best thing I saw was that if Paige watched Watch What Happens Live and doesn't immediately call or go next to her man, if she's not with him, if she didn't call Craig after Watch What Happens Live last night and say, listen to me right now and listen good. I will never let you out of my hands. You are never allowed to be with anyone but me, whether that means we're getting married right now, tomorrow, the next day. Like, we must be together forever. So put a ring on it, whatever we got to do. Because Madison played a game, choose the best, the nicest between these three. Craig. The best friend, Craig. The kindest, Craig. The this, Craig. Who's the best boyfriend? Craig. Who's the most going to be the most amazing husband? Craig. Who's going to be the best dad? Craig. Who's the, who's got the best sense of business? Craig. Who's got the best, the largest penis? Craig. I'm like, Paige, if you like men, there's no better one than your man. Like, you gotta pick him. They also asked Madison and Fortune, do you think what's more likely, that Craig moves to New York or that Paige moves to Charleston? They both said Craig moves to New York. So they gotta end up together. And if we don't see a damn proposal by then, remember she asked the psychic or the medium or whoever it was with the swinging pendulum on Summer House last season. She goes, am I getting engaged in 2024? And all roads led to yes. And it's Friday, December 6th. And she was happy about that answer. So are we getting engaged by New Year's Eve is my question. Should we bet on it? I think we're going to get engaged by the end of the year. Billy thinks Paige is going to lose Craig. Oh, Michael's mad at me because Shep cheated on Taylor. And that's why he thinks that Taylor has a right to be mean to Shep. I agree. Taylor should be mean to Shep, but there's been so much back and forth since that. Asif thinks that they'll get engaged on Summer House. God, that would be so lame. I really hope they don't get engaged on Summer House. If anything, they should get engaged on his show. No, actually, it should be on her show now that I think about it. But it shouldn't be on either of those shows. Those shows are just about drunk idiots. Upstate New York secret Christmas wedding. It's happened before. Interesting. Oh my gosh, you guys, what a fun week here. I was going to say on Summer House. Daily Dose of Donna, thank you so much for spending the week with me. Join Patreon. We're going to have a great episode this weekend. I'll be back next week. We're going to talk about everything. We'll have so much to cover. As always, you guys, I adore you. Thank you so much, Maddie, for this beautiful straight from Israel, gorgeous gold ring. I want you guys all to see it. It's scribed with this beautiful prayer in Hebrew. I don't know if you can see it, but I just got it in the mail yesterday and I'm obsessed with it. Obsessed with it. Thank you, Maddie. And I hope everyone has a beautiful weekend with friends, family, or just yourself. And I don't know, be grateful. Life is beautiful. And life is tough right now. So if you could just be grateful for your health and for, those around you and just like the little things, right? The little things. Todd, be grateful for Todd. I love you guys. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.